Shipwrecks are great. I had a shipwreck down on the beach from where I live. I used to love going to look at it. It's great fun, it's interesting. However, do you want to be the captain of a ship that turns into a shipwreck? Probably not. Here's some helpful tips to stop you from being that guy who runs aground, causes a load of pollution into the sea, and, you know, is a laughing stock.
Sailing. Virgin. Yeah. In today's episode, we navigate the challenges of running aground with expert insights from Instructor Finn. Then we witness Katie navigate us off a mooring ball for her first time. Finally, we journey to the breathtaking Prickly Pear Island, home to some of the most pristine turquoise waters in the entire Caribbean.
So as amazing and beautiful as the BVI is, there are a lot of reefs around which can offer amazing snorkeling. However, what this means is some anchorages and some of your passages are going to be in very, very shallow water. I've heard stories of captains not getting any sleep. They fall asleep at the wheel, boom, they run aground. Captains hitting reefs, hitting underwater rocks that they don't see. Sandbanks, especially here in the Caribbean. Depending on where you're sailing, you might have the tide going in and out. Icebergs, you might hit an iceberg like the lovely Titanic. Costa Concordia, captain showing off to his girlfriend. Oh, look how close I can get to the rocks. Boom, what happened? Your man's in jail. There's many things to consider and to think about to stop being responsible for a shipwreck. When approaching some anchorages or going in between islands, you will have to dodge some reefs. And the only way to truly avoid hitting a reef and running aground is just to do your research. Look at your charts. Navionics is a good app. Savvy Navi is a good app. They also provide, real-time GPS location, which can be very helpful. However, nothing beats paper charts. If you're in an area where you've never been before, you want to do all the research you can. You want to look at the charts and read the almanacs so you can plan your journey accordingly and stay safe whilst you're on the water. When you're approaching an area where it could be shallow, the last thing you want to be doing is whizzing along 9 knots, 3,000 RPM. Because then if something does go wrong and you do run aground, it's going to be more catastrophic than if you're going really slowly. Also, if you're going slow, it's easy to stop. If you're about to run into a reef, the slower you're going, the easier it is to avoid danger. You have your depth sounder. Problem is with depth sounders, sometimes it reads you the depth from the water line. Other times it will be reading the depth from the bottom of the keel. If your depth sounder is reading the depth from the water line, you got to do your maths and ensure there's enough water, enough space under your keel and the seabed. If the depth sounder is giving you the depth from under your keel, that's probably the best bet. But if your depth sounder is under the keel, you know exactly how much water is from the bottom of your keel and the seafloor. The colour of the water is a good indicator. If the clearer, the more turquoise the water, the more shallow the depth. If it's dark brown or dark blue, then it's probably going to be deeper. Sometimes it'll be sand, sometimes it'll be coral, sometimes it'll be rock, sometimes it'll be seagrass. If you do run aground, you want to run aground onto sand or to soft mud. If you run aground and you bang into a rock, you can cause real damage to your boat. If you run aground nice and slowly, 1 knot into a nice soft bit of sand, that's not going to be the end of the world. These are all things you need to consider to ensure you don't run aground. Fortunately now, people have been sailing for centuries. People have invented lighthouses. Lighthouses have saved thousands of lives. Sailors are at sea. They see a light in the distance flashing a certain amount of times. They can see exactly where they are. They know if they need to turn around and avoid this big massive rock in the middle of the sea that's going to cause them to crash their boat and kill all their crew. Cardinal markers, very important as a sailor or a skipper of any sort. You need to understand the cardinal markers. They're there so you don't crash and sink your boat. Isolated danger marks. Having a good understanding of cardinal markers and isolated danger marks will be the difference between having a great holiday and drowning on your boat in the middle of the ocean. If you do want to run aground, make sure it's a really nice, beautiful boat, so in years to come, we have a lovely shipwreck to go and look at. So we'll slip the lines, maybe get the boat through the mooring field. Remember, The boys are red right return, so it's going to be green leaving. Red right returns is the other way around. So we are not returning, we're leaving.
So am I essentially heading out where that boat is through this mooring buoys?
Yeah.
Well, if you it's too tight there and you think there's more space over there, then head that way.
One at a time or both?
You can either, doesn't really matter.
Let me know when we're good.
So it's going to start getting incredibly shallow. Do what you want, use the helm, use the throttle.
Should I be heading out this way?
Yeah, there's a nice bit of room there, so I'd head over that way.
So lover, which way have you moved? It's been a while since our bodies grooved. Cosmic love gave you something gold, so you wrap it all up and take it.
We are currently anchored at the beautiful Prickly Pear Island, probably the bluest water I've seen in the Caribbean so far. We got Richard Branson's island right over there, and this is where we're anchored out. We're jumping off the boat, making a little lunch, and just swimming in this beautiful blue water.
Picnic on the beach now, wouldn't it? See you in a bit, guys.
Yeah,